But that's the story. I actually forgot why we were talking about Abraham in the first place. Oh! So Isaac then goes on to have his own kids. He meets this nice girl named Rebecca, who is also his cousin. But again, that's just how it is in the Bible for a bit. Everybody's related. He's been kind of looking for a partner. He's looking to get married. And he sends his servant out. His servant actually meets Rebecca first. The servant meets her at the well, and the servant's like, hey, could you, grab me some water? Rebecca draws water for both his horses and for him. And because she is so thoughtful, God is like, this is the girl. This is the girl that Isaac should marry. So they get married. Everything's hunky-dory for a bit. Then they're going to have their first kid. And while she's pregnant, she feels like it's like something's fighting in there. And she's like, what? And God's like, it's all good. Fear not. You have 2 nations in your womb. You're gonna have twins. She does have twins! And they name them Jacob and Esau. And Esau is technically older, and the whole primogeniture thing is a pretty big deal in the Bible, like the firstborn son. Esau comes out red and rosy and really hairy when he's born. So they call him Esau. It's spelled E-S-A-U, so I don't know if I'm pronouncing it right. Esau. And then there's Jacob. Jacob comes out second, so he's technically younger. And also, Jacob came out holding Esau's heel, which just sounds like a breech birth to me, and I hope Rebecca was okay. Esau is the older brother, so he gets, the birthright. Because he's the oldest son, technically, by, 2 minutes. That is important in this culturally. Esau is Isaac's favorite, because Esau's really good at hunting, and he brings back meat, and Isaac thinks it's great, because he likes steak, I guess. Jacob is Rebecca's favorite, though. So it's kind of like the Parent Trap, except there's no divorce. Anyway, so they're adults by now. Esau comes in from tending the fields, and it's hard work. He comes in, he's like, Jacob, I need something to eat. And Jacob's like, what'll you give me? And Esau's like, I'm your brother, dude. And Jacob's like, what do you give me? Esau's like, I'm literally gonna die if I don't get something to eat. So what do you want? And Jacob's like, birthright. I want the birthright. And Esau's like, okay. Whatever, I'm gonna die if I don't get something to eat. And Jacob gives him some pottage and he eats it and he goes off the birth left. So the lesson here for many people is don't trade what's most important for what you want in the moment. It can be read a variety of ways, but that's the lesson that I have typically heard, that Esau was foolish because the birthright is really important. It should have been his. It was his responsibility, and it's a great blessing to him and his children. So just because he was hungry, he shouldn't have traded the birthright for dinner. Again, it may be interpreted in a different way. Exactly, have your lawyer. Yeah, that was another question I had. And again, we're looking at this from a storytelling standpoint. Why didn't Jacob just give him some food? He's your brother, man. That's like the sibling instinct, you know? Kick them when they're stupid. Don't kick anybody. Don't commit assault. Tell your sibling they're dumb. That happens. But we're also ride or die. Anyway, so Jacob has the birthright now, and Esau's like, whatever. Thus, Esau despised his birthright. Anyway, the point is, Isaac gets old. He's like, I am dying. I should probably do this birthright thing at some point before I'm dead. He's like, hey, Esau, go, hunt me some meat. Make me some venison, deer meat. Get me some venison. We're gonna do the birthright thing, so, bring me some food. Rebecca overhears, and Jacob is her favorite, and she knows that Jacob technically has the birthright now through this entirely non-contractual arrangement. She's like, hey, go get some stuff, Jacob. I will prepare it the way that he likes. He can't see anyway, because he's super old, so we're just gonna make him think that you're Esau, and he'll give you the birthright. And Jacob's like, yeah, okay. So he goes out and gets the meat. Rebecca helps him prepare it. They go into Isaac's room, where he's super old. He can't see anything. His vision's gone. He's got cataracts, which are quite easily fixed nowadays, but not back then. He's like, Dad, it's me, Esau. Here's your steak. Give me the birthright. This is not a direct quote from the Bible. Isaac's like, awesome. So he eats the food. He's like, let me feel you so I can make sure you're Esau. Because remember, Esau was super hairy and Jacob was not. He didn't have a lot of body hair. But they had thought of this. Rebecca had told him to strap some sheepskin to his arms so that he would feel hairy. Isaac doesn't even question it. He's like, yep, you're Esau, and gives him the birthright. Now he has the blessing. Esau comes in later. He's like, hey, Dad, it said we're going to do the birthright thing. And Isaac's like, what are you talking about? I just gave you the birthright. And Esau's like, no, you didn't. And Isaac's like, I think I gave it to Jacob. And so that just kind of sucks for Esau. There are some parallels between early stories in early civilizations. There are aspects to stories that are just common. This is not to say that, like, the Bible is fake and wrong. There are parallels that people have noticed, whether through coincidence or cultural influence. I can't say, and I'm not gonna try to say. Anyway, the moral of the story is bring a snack. The moral of the story is just give your brother a snack, man. So, now Jacob, the lineage goes through him. Esau goes elsewhere and marries some girls of other nations, and his parents don't like that. Esau marries some Hittite girls. I think it actually says he has, like, multiple wives, but, you know, polygamy is kind of a thing in the Bible. He marries Judith and Bashemoth, which, okay, those are cool names. Those are cool names. And they are Hittites, and Isaac and Rebecca, kind of a bummer, but, like, he's an adult. He can go do what he wants. Rebecca's like, Jacob, my son, don't marry any of the unrighteous women. The daughters of Heth are specifically the ones she's concerned about. She's like, my life will be worthless if you marry the daughters of Heth. And Jacob's like, okay, mom. And his dad's also like, do not marry any of the people from Canaan. And Jacob's like, okay, man. They might have been upset because people of other nations, like the Hittites, might have been viewed as not God's people, not following God's laws. And so by marrying people who were not following the one true God they believed in, Esau was kind of turning his back on the covenant path. But Jacob's still carrying the torch, so it's all good. Jacob wants to get married, you know, a man wants to settle down. He meets this girl named Rachel. He's head over heels. He goes to Rachel's father. He's like, hey, your daughter, I really like her. Can I marry her? Laban's like, I'm gonna need something for her. You gotta serve me for 7 years.